my dad had a tackle box or several, and they were just full of junk, man. You could never find anything. I mean, you'd be looking for stuff, and you couldn't find nothing. So what I've done is I've really streamlined down. I don't fool with a tackle box. I have a tackle bag that you see me use, that army style bag that I have stuff. But my real tackle box is just one of these little small ones. I haven't seen them in this particular configuration in a while, but that's generally all I need. The first step is organize your tackle box according to how you're gonna fish that day, or for that month, or for that season, or for that pattern, right? Fish. Right now, I'm mostly trolling off the bottom, so I'm gonna sit down, take a afternoon, take an evening, and organize my little small tackle box for mostly drifting off the bottom. In the spring, I'll probably be doing more fly fishing, cane pole fishing, and using lighter rigs in the shallows, especially when the bluegill comes shallow to start bedding, right? Well, then I'll sort of gear my tackle box a little heavier towards that. That's why I like this type, because it's modular. I can take out these little indents here, these little dividers, and make them however I want. I'm not saying you can go bigger if you need, right? If you're trolling crankbaits, you're gonna need something bigger than this. You probably need something 3 or 4 times bigger than that. But my point is, you can just get it down to one box like that, you're fine. Now, this is not gonna work for tournament fishing. Tournament fishing is a whole different setup and a whole different rig, especially if you're bass fishing. Quite frankly, if you're a bass fisherman, you're probably going to have 10 or 15 rods already pre-rigged. All you got to do is pick up the rod and cast and go, right? It's just run and gun type fishing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about meat fishing and catching eating size fish, and you just need to have quick, efficient access to your gear to minimize time tying rigs and all that stuff when you break off, right? Pre-tied leaders are a good idea. When I'm trolling, I've got about a half a dozen trolling rigs here with some very similar very similar lure to my thump rig. Very old rig. I don't even know if there's a name for it. It's a very old type of trolling rig. You can also drift with it, and you can cast with it. Very old. This is a Max spinner type spinner here. It's assembled on the line, and you can see you have beads on it, kind of like for walleye, different color beads. And I'm going for the Mickey Finn coloration of yellow, red, yellow, or in this case gold, chrome red, gold. And you have a treble hook at the back, very similar. This is a number 4, the other was a number 5. But whenever you have, you need to take time to pre-tie all your leaders, because you're gonna break off. If you ain't getting hung up and broken off and fishing, you're probably not fishing, right? So, but this is a lure that the lure is on the line, right? So you have to pre-tie the thing. It's just not really practical to just have these pre-assembled in a box like this. Okay, for example, this tackle box is very minimal. I haven't found them in this size in a long time. But what you have here is, for instance, I take the common ways I fish. If I'm fishing with a float, slip bobber, I have plenty of beads. I have plenty of split shots in a couple of sizes that I most popularly use. And then I have my swivels. Snap swivels and snaps. All right, and I have some basic hooks here. And so from there, I can used my cane pole or my crappie rod and rigged in a number of fashions, with the bobber, without the bobber, straight lining with a split shot, multiple hooks. You can just rig it a bunch of different ways. Now, if I have my hand line, or I want to do a lot of drifting or do a lot of trolling, I have these guys, my thump rigs that I assemble and sell, and they can get pretty tight in here. And I will also put these on my fly rod. These are number 1s, I think. I will put these on my fly rod and cast them on my fly rod. You don't have to put a sinker on your fly rod or sinking line. You can just put one of these and they'll sink really well. Okay, and if I'm really wanting to do some serious fly fishing, guess what? I just have some streamers locked away here. Some Mickey fins and some pink and purples and various streamers of various sorts, colors that I feel like tying, and I'll just keep them right there. That's gonna cover, 80% of my fishing, 90% of my fishing, okay? And that's why I much prefer a small minimalist type tackle box. Fits in my bag, and I don't have to be worrying about all this junky junk in a big tackle box.